Niagara 124, your source for news, entertainment, food, and jibber jabber. Put in your thinking caps and prepare for your debriefing on current events. This week on Niagara 124, Misa no Karen about the novel. Oh, yeah, we'll actually talk about things, by the way. Woo! Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing on this fabulous Friday the 13th?
The show still exists.
April the 13th, 2018. Yeah, Bobby.
The show still exists.
It's a thing.
Hooray.
Don't you know,
we didn't get canceled.
We didn't get canceled in our final season.
This isn't like... Why?
Who would get canceled in their final season?
I don't know. Maybe if it was like really
on
bad.
Fox.
Oh, yeah, that's
a good point.
Yeah, that Fox just cancels things, though. That's their job.
Anyway.
So first off, welcome to Niagara 124. I always forget to put the... We're a percentage, people.
We're secretly lizard people.
And if you haven't been following us for, you know, the 4 years / 8 seasons we've done here, you guys, Bobby should know, why are we called 124th?
Why are we called 124th? Well, 124th is the number of brain cells I'm gonna have multiplied by the end of this. So,
yeah, it was originally 124th because we are 1/24th of your day you're never getting back.
Yeah,
that was it. That was our slogan. I mean, our real slogan was all this and more on 124, but our actual slogan is an hour of your life you'll never get back.
Yeah, that's
reigning endorsement.
An hour of my life I'll never get back to.
So we haven't been here
in a good long while.
In several weeks.
I think it's been like 2. Is it like... How long have we been away?
Probably
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Well, we missed 2 weeks,
shows.
so it's 3.
We missed 2 shows and we had Easter as well, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Easter was... Well, no, we missed one show.
We only missed 1 show.
We missed one show because of Easter, and then we missed last week's show.
And then we missed last week's show.
So we're back.
So it's been 2 weeks.
We're back in black, and we're ready to attack.
Ever.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us are really
no, it's
black,
technically been 3 weeks because we had a show. 1 week later, we didn't have a show, so that's 1 week. Another week later, we didn't have a show, so that's 2 weeks. And then another week, we're finally having a show, so that's 3 weeks.
It's been...
Cool.
We missed 2 weeks.
We missed 2 weeks, but it's been 3 weeks since you last heard our...
my name is Bobby.
But we're back.
We didn't introduce ourselves.
Yeah. Bobby, ladies and gentlemen. Say hi, Bobby.
He
already did. I'm Joe. Hi, folks. And...
I am, as always, what's my name? Do I have a name on this show?
Yeah, I'll forget mine.
My name is
Prisoner 621.
My name is James, and I'm here to talk about the weather.
Oh no!
You see, here for the weather for the middle of April.
It's still snowing.
There is an ice warning tomorrow night.
We can't win.
Also, the longest period in history, Edmonton has officially not been has not had a single day not below freezing for something like, I don't know, it was record-breaking. Basically, they have not seen a day that hasn't dipped below freezing ever in the history of their lives. And if you're living in Edmonton, well, you should move to Western New York because you know what? We're obviously better than that.
Move out of the
And this
Canadian
has been the
prairies.
weather with James.
Thanks, James. Speaking of James, anyway, we got a lot of news to talk about,
Speaking
and
of
something
James,
very interesting, newsworthy that James covered. So, for those of you who don't know, the recent developing situation, international situation, we go for our first story to the Middle East, and specifically the absolute insanity and tragedy
we
that
are
is
not
going.
bringing up what James said in season 2.
No, we're not. But we're just I use it as a transition.
So you used a reference that people would only know if they look up a specific season 2 episode that James was in.
As a
I
transition.
don't know what he's talking about. So
Anyway,
I'll get
okay, let's just
It
talk
was
about.
the one where we had to kick James out because
He said the
the
stupid.
discussion went pretty much like this, and I'm going to do it because I am the manager now and I could do what I want. The discussion was, James, we can't have you on the show anymore. What do you mean we can't have me on the show anymore? That's baloney. Well, James, you kind of said some incendiary things. What, did I piss off the liberals as usual? James, okay, first of all, stop saying that. Second of all, no, it was more about the fact that you said we should, firebomb Syria. I did not say we should firebomb Syria. I said carpet bomb. And I said it'd be a viable option, don't misquote me. Okay, James, how is that better? It's completely different. And then he proceeded to, perform Sunrise Over Moscow. Talking about how even the people in the gulags were happy. It was very weird. It was funny.
It was funny.
But weird.
And it was funny, but thank you for giving context. So yes, let's talk about Syria, but
Let's
not,
not.
but not in that way.
You
so
mean how Donald Trump is totally
totally,
going to drop missiles all over them.
yeah.
And
Admittedly,
Russia better be ready.
although Russia said they'll shoot down any missiles they shoot, which would, I have a feeling that Trump's bluffing. That's what I've heard from people. What do you think?
I find what's really funny is that the news is like, well, he always said he was never going to telegraph military movements, but isn't he telegraphing military movements? And I'm like, can't you guys, for the first time, I'm very happy that the news hasn't figured out that this is a ploy.
Yeah.
He's trying to, like, because he figures out, if I say we're going to drop a bunch of missiles, maybe someone will back off, or negotiations will open up, or, we could, or, it might just be a JFK and we nearly caused World War III. Because,
Yeah, or maybe they just drop a bunch of missiles on.
Oh no.
they don't got no missiles.
But anyway,
Russia got missiles? No.
but that's.
Never.
Besides that situation, don't you find it interesting? And I had this discussion with somebody. Don't you find it weird that so Trump, as you know, before the chemical attack that occurred recently, Trump was planning on, he had publicly stated that he was planning on getting troops out of Syria. Assad has basically won the conflict, you could say, because he controls most of the country. Even though, he's done that by basically either killing or, like, exiling 90% of his population.
I
but
mean, when
he's still
you're
got
controlling something that is 90-something%
rubble.
obliterated
Yeah,
off
I know.
the face of the earth, I mean, it's not really a win.
It's not really a win, but still, he has control of the country, most of it.
Barely.
Barely, but he has most of the control, and Russia's backed him. But it doesn't make sense. Why would he then have a chemical attack occur? Why would they attack a rebel village with chemicals if Trump was planning on pulling out and he's in a solidly stable situation? And the consequences had already occurred because of the previous chemical attack.
What sane decision is being carried out by any party in this situation?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think the counterpoint here is there's no logical moves from anyone. This is kind of a...
Yeah. Well, the Syrian civil war has always been a bit of a cluster, like, just mess.
I mean, the fact that this has been going on for nearly a decade is kind of crazy.
It is crazy, and especially the fact that it doesn't seem like, no matter which side wins, the people of Syria seem to suffer, because you have Assad, who's a murderous dictator who we all know is capable of using chemical weapons and willing to use them on his people.
In one corner, you have Assad, who is the Hussein in this scenario.
Yeah, but on
In
the other side, the
corner,
rebels who are basically the Muslim Brotherhood and
wait.
extremists.
It's like you have several different corners in here. In one corner, you have Assad, who is Hussein in this case. In the other corner, you have ISIS, who is Al-Qaeda in this case.
You have the
in
rebels
a third
backed
corner,
by Saudi Arabia.
You have, like, some rebels.
Backed by Saudi Arabia and the Muslim
who are,
Brotherhood.
basically, the think the same thing happened in Iraq. So
Yeah, well,
the comparison is exactly.
Yeah, the sort of Muslim Brotherhood, Islamist sort of movement, and then you have and then the Kurds who don't want anything to do with it,
and then the Kurds who just show up and have been just
doing their thing.
are always those guys that you're. Oh yeah, that's right. They're there too, aren't they? Oh crap, we forgot about them. Every single war in the Middle East.
Yeah. But mainly the Kurds don't want to take over Syria. They just say they just want their little patch in Syria.
Well, that's always
so the main people fighting to take over the government are ISIS, which would be horrible, Assad, which we know to be horrible, and the rebels who are backed by Saudi Arabia and the Islamist Muslim Brotherhood, which would also be horrible. So Syria is kind of in a lose-lose-lose situation here.
Well, I don't think it was ever going to... At this point, when a civil war goes on that long, it's never going to be in a winning situation.
Yeah.
I mean... Syria is just... a mess. It's a mess.
Another disaster.
I don't think there's any easy solution at this point. This is going to take decades to fix.
It's probably, I think we've talked about this before, and I think it's probably going to be seen as the most destructive civil war because we're one of the most destructive civil wars in modern history because, like you said, 90% of the country is rubble.
No, it's going to be... I mean, there have been... war. It's definitely civil war because there has been war. I mean, World War II obliterated.
Well, yeah, but I mean
of the
civil
earth.
wars.
But from and simultaneously you have so many. I mean, people forget that the Middle East, not only culturally alone, is very valuable in the fields of history, anthropology, and cultural studies.
You got a lot of history,
and a
there.
lot of these, thousands and thousands, earliest civilizations, and
yeah, you're sitting on gold miner ruins, yeah,
and they're basically being obliterated, and things that have stood for thousands of years are now suddenly destroyed.
Yeah, and that's horrible. You have ISIS destroying statues. They're constantly bombing old Roman cities that stood in Damascus for thousands of years. I mean, it really is a horrible situation, especially with that.
Yeah. And that's not something. It's not something you can just rebuild. So
no, it's.
I don't think there's not going to be any winners in Syria.
No. But do you think what do you think Trump's game is with this? Do you think
I don't know.
Only God knows.
Yeah,
what Trump is doing at this point.
I mean, at this point, there's probably 3 people in the White House that actually have a clue what he's up to.
What he's up to.
You know what?
Have no idea.
Moving on to Trump's lawyer.
Let's talk about this. Okay.
Can we talk about how smooth the FBI is with this, though?
What, they just walked in and were like, hello, can we please take your stuff?
This is an Al Capone move, though. So I don't know if you know the whole story of, the way they were able to get Al Capone and throw him in jail was for tax evasion. It wasn't for anything he did.
If you've ever seen The Untouchables, that you'd know.
And this is how brilliant, I mean, this FBI move and trying to figure out, in the long run, in this whole thing, the media, and we like to scream about Stormy Daniels, that's not even... And even the scheme, they're trying to justify its importance, but you see, they're already pivoting. They're like, well, if this lawyer paid off Stormy Daniels, that would be an illegal campaign contribution that was not properly, acknowledged in the forms, and therefore would be legal, so we're going to find that. Now, because we've already seized all of the lawyer's stuff, they will be searching to see if they can find more stuff on this. And, as noted, if they stumble across anything while searching, because it is an active search warrant, it's the idea of basically, if you go into someone's house with a search warrant and you have a warrant for something unrelated, and then you suddenly uncover a bunch of different, incriminating stuff for something else, it's fair game. It's part of, the collecting evidence. So it's not, everyone kind of realizes they're trying to find, they don't care about Stormy Daniels. They're hoping that while they're searching for this Stormy Daniels payoff, they find payments to Russia. That's what this is.
Which
they're trying to see.
I highly doubt, though,
if there's any incriminating evidence suggesting that there is some sort of Russian collusion.
I doubt they're gonna find anything like that.
I doubt it too, but this is brilliant because everyone's talking about thinking And of course, they could just play moral police on this, like, oh no, you know. But the reality is, this is just their way in to search, because they didn't have one. You needed some sort of, you know, evidence, and they have. Honestly, it wouldn't be taking this long. They have nothing. They have very little evidence. So by using this, it's their workaround.
Yeah.
Which you gotta applaud the, you know, the amount of work the FBI will put in at this point.
Despite the fact that it seems to be a lot of work for nothing, because they're probably not going to really find much.
I mean, by the time they find anything, the election's going to be over. And I don't know if you noticed that Paul Ryan is not resigning, people. He is not resigning.
What?
Please
I
stop.
thought they said he was going to resign.
He's not resigning. He's not running for re-election. I mean, this is how the media is like, oh, he's resigning because he's running away. No, he's staying in. He's just not running. He's up for re-election in November, and he's not going to run.
Yeah.
But what's funny is he's like, well, I want to spend more time with my family and blah, blah, blah. And some of that I think is true. Everyone else is like, well, he's just trying to run away because he can't deal with Trump. But, you know, there's the third reason, which my lovely friend Emily Leffler, whose birthday it is today, she's turning 21, so happy birthday, Emily. You know, his note and all of us in the poli-sci department are kind of figuring out is, you know, if he decides not to be Speaker of the House in November, and next year starts the new campaign cycle for president,
You think he's running?
you think that maybe he might run for president?
I was about to say, you thinking he's running for president, or?
I think he might.
Because
But here's the deal, and this is what's so funny is when everyone's like, look at him, you know, oh man, he's just trying to quit, you know, the position as Speaker of the House, and he's horrible, and blah, 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 and, you know, he didn't want it. John Boehner threw it at him. Like, John Boehner was like, Tag, you're it, and Paul Ryan was like, I don't want to do this. Paul Ryan tried everything he could to not be Speaker of the House, and people forget that. They completely forget that he really didn't want to be Speaker of the House. He was forced in when Boehner's like, yeah, I quit. And now Paul Ryan's like, yep, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, now I really, like, at first he didn't want to do it. Now he really, really doesn't want to do it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah, it will be. But
5 people in London were arrested for holding an illegal rave.
No segue. Just
Toys R Us.
No segue. Just going right into it.
Here's the thing.
Segue.
Here's the thing, right? Why?
A rave in abandoned Toys R Us?
Yeah.
Because
Drugs.
Why is it illegal?
Drugs.
Why aren't we allowed to have raves in the abandoned Toys R Us?
Because London has a lot of issues with raves and abandoned properties.
London has a lot of problems with like people breaking the law, crime in general, which is something.
Duh.
Yeah, did you hear about this? I just want to bring this up real quick. Did you hear that they're working on restricting people's access? I kid you not. They a guy got arrested for having a butter knife because knife crime is such a problem in London. Yeah, because that's what happens when you have really restrictive gun control. They start using knives.
There was a tweet from one of the districts that was talking about how they pulled these dangerous weapons off the street.
And it was a gardening tool.
No, it was 2 screwdrivers, a pair of pliers, and a hammer.
Here's the
thing, United Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen.
They said, oh man, all the police are going to be freaking out when they walk in Home Depot.
If a butter knife is the worst of my problem in the UK, I'd rather live there than here, because, jeez.
Bobby, but here's the thing.
Yeah,
even
but
if
you're really going to get stabbed.
Yeah.
You're going to get stabbed.
You're going to get stabbed, Bobby. You walk into the wrong part of London.
You know what it's like getting stabbed by a butter knife? It's not sharp, so it's extra hurty.
It's just ridiculous.
It's extra hurty.
I mean, if you want, it's just any, it's just ridiculous to me. The UK is becoming a joke country. It is not a serious...
What? No.
They're arresting...
I like how he thinks the UK hasn't already been a joke country.
For a while?
For the United States. I mean, our entire history has been like, look at the US, pip, pip, cheerio, Fruit Loops and whatnot,
Now it's becoming...
Let's laugh at John Oliver.
I mean, I was saying that it was more of a political joke, because you have this thing going on with knives. You have London's murder rate getting higher than New York City, and the mayor of London focusing on, other things other than that, like, say, increasing...
London calling and...
Yeah, and, he's focusing on, I'm trying to my London diversity and crap. Well, people are dying.
Cares?
And you have people getting arrested for jokes in Scotland.
I wanted to talk about a rave in an abandoned Toys R Us, and suddenly we're in a political debate about the rapidly eroding
State of the United Kingdom.
Everything needs to be about politics and how stupid.
Like,
Because
you know
I want to
what?
make
Let's
a
just
serious
talk
point.
let's just talk about the fact that the hottest new club in London is called Toys We Were. This club
Toys
has
We
everything. This club.
How much?
Toys were us.
If I might ask,
I need to quote. I gotta
how
bring
much
up this
ecstasy per person is located in this abandoned Toys R Us?
tweet. I need to quote this tweet because it is.
I figure it's a lot of ecstasy.
So, this is a tweet, but this would be a reference to. You've ever seen the SNL skit with Bill Hader when he does the nightclub thing?
yeah, the at the Roxbury or like,
No. When he you guys don't watch SNL.
I don't watch
and this was
SNL.
like 10 years ago.
I don't watch SNL.
Okay, so Stefan.
Oh, there,
Stefan.
yeah.
Okay, so the hottest nightclub in London is Toys We Were. This place is everything: possessed dolls, the Nintendo Wii, a pole dancer wearing a Jeffrey head. Just felt that needed to be mentioned.
Yeah,
Because that's the first thing that came to my mind when they're like, we're having a rave in an abandoned Toys R Us.
yeah.
There's going to be a lot of abandoned Toys R Us.
There's gonna be a lot of raves.
A lot of raves, a lot
We
of
don't
ecstasy.
have raves around
We
here.
don't have raves around here. What are you
No,
talking about?
raves were very... I mean, there's some... No, we don't have raves
They were a
around here.
big thing in the
Raves
UK
were
in the
very
90s.
big in London.
In the 90s,
Too bad
especially.
people are getting stabbed with butter knives at the raves now. You can't. Go.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's too bad they got gangs, grooming gangs, but they're not doing anything about it in London.
We should play some rave music. I have Raver's Fantasy on here.
Desperately
Play
trying
the,
to get away from the
Play
UK government ignoring
play
people.
The EDM remix of the yodeling kid at Walmart.
Can we not?
Yeah.
I don't have that. Sorry.
Oh, well, I mean, it's on
so-
YouTube.
We'll just say
We'll,
save that. For
we'll
the
save
end.
that for the end. Right
But
now.
meanwhile, moving on.
moving
to
on
more
to-
news.
Oh, you want to talk about the thing?
news? What thing?
Like the Channel Awesome thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
But Channel Awesome, Bobby, you should be.
let's
more.
Wait,
let's
what is
talk
the
about my
situation?
childhood getting beaten
haven't
to
heard?
death.
What?
It's an absolute catastrophe.
What-
Like
Everything is going wrong. Everybody is horrible. Everything is terrible.
okay, so the a lot of what I would call the B-roll material on Channel Awesome,
material.
you know, the things that weren't Nostalgia Critic and his cronies,
Yeah.
are basically forming a hostile riot
Against
against Channel Awesome.
Well, because Channel Awesome is so horrendously mismanaged and like
They weren't they weren't
I know.
getting paid.
Yeah, they weren't
They
getting
were
paid.
being under promoted.
They had a hostile work environment because the people in charge. The one guy, Michael McCod, was apparently the worst person to work for.
Apparently, one of the members of Channel Awesome is also quite possibly a pedophile.
Yeah.
So,
that's-
Well, there's a few. There's a few.
You know what? We're doing really well on that channel. But I
Yes.
mean, here's the deal with Channel Awesome, which is kind of, I mean, Channel Awesome started, and it was, that guy with the glasses.com.
Yeah.
And it was a website, and things were hosted on the website, and then the website shut down a few years ago, and everything kind of moved to YouTube.
Yeah.
And the problem with moving things to YouTube is you have no control over that. Like, they lost the majority of their... And plus, they were constant... I mean, Nostalgia Critic had to change his entire format for reviewing movies
Yeah.
because of YouTube's, copyright avoidance.
YouTube's awful.
was collapsed.
Yeah. But also, you ever
What?
seen you ever watch Mr. Medicare? He did a whole series on that guy with the glasses.
Yeah,
And if you want the background information on the situation, you can watch that because it's a good video or good series. Although I'd recommend Short Fat Otaku's video as well. That's another good one. But if you want the
I think
background,
that age of the internet with people having like really ridiculous names is finally ending.
it's finally
Like,
ending.
Finally? What do you mean finally? It's been over. I haven't seen a ridiculous name in over 5 years.
Yeah, good point. Like, well, mainly because now they demand you use your real name.
I mean,
That is ridiculous, though.
I don't want to use my
who's-
real name.
who's demanding that you use your real name?
YouTube.
Pretty much
YouTube?
everything. Oh, in the we haven't talked about reptilian Lord Zuckerberg. What was
That
that,
guy was-
hearing?
That guy's not human.
What was
Like,
that?
I've told
Who
you.
drinks water like that? That was the most, like, disturbing drinking of water since Marco Rubio reaching for a bottle during a debate.
I told you. I told you he was a robot.
I saw a gif.
This is how humans drink.
Yeah.
I saw a gif
What?
at one point. He's like, he smiles, like he goes like,
And it goes to smile.
yeah, and then it just like goes. There's like a smile slider.
It was like, but I like all these like, you know,
Old senators who don't know how Facebook works.
And it's funny because they use Facebook, but they don't realize. But this is once again like the deal where they're
Oh,
like,
look at all that pizza! I want some of that.
yo, where like everyone's like, oh man, you know, Facebook's stealing your data. Like, where have you been?
Everything.
Maybe just because I'm a communications major and, you know, this was freshman year for me, this collection of metadata and how they own your soul. But, you know.
I knew this before this. I knew.
It's funny because everyone kind of knew this, but then they're like, oh, it was used for political purposes?
Oh, now we're up in arms.
I find that funny because, like, if you... And in fact, now Facebook is like, we have recalibrated our ads. You can't do what you used to be able to do. Because I could pick very specific interests and like how I wanted the ads targeted. Like I could target, I want everyone in, and I think I said this before, I want everyone in, what's that? I'm trying to think of that, Mississauga. I want everyone in Mississauga between the ages of 16 and 25 who are interested in potatoes, Zac Efron, and the Soviet national anthem.
What?
I could do that. I'm not joking.
Okay.
And it would target them with whatever ad I had, very specifically to that specific audience.
Yeah.
So like, it was used for political purposes.
I mean, everybody
And
knew this was
I liked
gonna
when
be...
they asked Mark Zuckerberg, like, was your data part of the data that was sold? And he just paused and went, yes. And I'm like, you know that he doesn't use his Facebook. Like, he doesn't put his own information on Facebook.
Yeah.
He
That's
doesn't sell his own information.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. What was also ridiculous during that hearing, did you see the one senator grill him over the definition of hate speech? And he couldn't properly define it, which is a problem because that's always been a problem on Twitter and Facebook where they're censoring different people's opinions under quote unquote
it's
hate
just
speech.
funny that like the hashtag delete Facebook was trending on Twitter. Like, you know that Twitter was promoting the crap
you
out
know
of that.
Twitter was
They're
pushing
like,
that.
because Twitter has been bleeding profusely, and if everyone's like, we need to get rid of our Facebook, it's like, yes, come to Twitter.
Come to Twitter.
We have great, wonderful things here.
All the Trump tweets.
I find it funny that, like, I mean, Facebook has always been the old people social media.
It
in the
has.
last year,
It has.
But the fact that our old man president is using Twitter just instantly aged it by, like it did that scene in Last Crusade where the guy drinks from the wrong chalice.
Yeah.
Like, you picked the wrong grail, man. You just turned into a skeleton.
Oh, no.
Dang.
But which one's the right one?
Obviously, it's the wooden one. He was a carpenter.
Exactly. Also, Jehovah doesn't start with a J.
It starts with an I.
Exactly. Remember that, folks.
Now, if you're ever looking for the Holy Grail in Petra,
Yeah, if you're ever in Petra looking for the Holy Grail...
I mean, everyone's already found... Clearly, it's already been found.
I mean,
so.
it's a big tourist place, and they just keep going to look. But... Do we have any topics?
We never do.
We never do.
Because I think we ran by most of them.
have
I wanted to get
plenty
more
of
in depth
What else
about...
has happened
Oh, I
in
got
the
it.
last 3
no,
weeks?
come on. What else has happened in the last... Don't hit that mic,
What
Joe!
happened this week?
I got something. I was about to say...
Sorry, sir. This is a Christian server. No swearing.
I will send you that meme again. Anyway, so you hear about this. So the situation's continuing to go south in Catalonia. Recently, the Spanish government tried to get the former governor of Catalonia out of France. I think he's in France right now, hiding out from the Spanish government. And the thing is, I think we can mostly agree that Spain did not handle Catalonia's referendum well. Think you can agree with that?
I know. I don't
Did you see what they
I don't have
did?
a single clue
No,
what you were
I
talking
have-
about, my
I-
guy.
Okay, so here's what they did. They were holding a referendum on should Catalonia be independent. And they weren't sure whether it was going to go to Catalonian independence or if they were going to stay with Spain.
In other news, Khloe Kardashian has given birth to her baby.
Khloe Kardashian has given birth. Nicki Minaj released 2 new songs, I guess, last night.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does nobody care?
No. It was a great show.
This is great. Anyway, it was dumb that Spain...
We've been gone for 3 weeks and somehow have nothing to talk about.
Anyway, it was dumb that Spain sent in the cops and they beat up the Catalonian voters, so now the Catalonian people are really angry at Spain. Way to go, Spain.
YouTube illegally collects data on children, said Child Protection.
Yeah, no duh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, considering the majority of YouTube users now are 6, because parents don't even check.
Oh my gosh.
I think there's been, I think there's a failure of parenting.
And it used to be like, you'd sit your child in front of the TV and they'd see something they shouldn't have. But now you're just giving your child roaming access to the internet.
Yeah, kids have
Admittingly,
iPads,
here's the
cell
thing.
phones.
Here's the thing. They need to learn, I think parents need to learn that they need to parent their kids and not the government and not
Can we
society.
just talk about something like completely separate though? I know that millennials are very easy to bash.
Oh, easy
But
as
can we
heck.
just please note that on a sliding scale of things, we're pretty decent. That generation below us is eating Tide Pods and snorting condoms. So you know what? I don't know. I think we turned out okay. Oh wait, no, you're Gen Z.
I was born in 1998.
You're Gen Z because the cutoff, according to Pew Research Center, the official cutoff for millennials is 1996.
They're also leading the gun control movement.
Which I disagree with in certain aspects, Bobby. It's not always the thing. Here's the thing. I remember I saw this amazing meme. It's this guy brings a dog.
Great information source.
Wait, no, it's fun.
I saw a dank meme.
No, but this is actually really good. So he brings a dog, and it's like, does he bite? No, but he can hurt you in other ways.
Oh, that's just everyone has seen that meme.
Yeah,
everyone has seen that meme.
Just because you're the victim of a tragedy doesn't make you a public policy expert.
Well, I mean, it does.
Well, they're doing better than our government, so I mean,
Well,
like, our
but
government's
Really,
garbage.
what do
I
you
will
want to
give
do,
credit-
Bobby?
I
I want to know what you... Do you, Bobby, want to raise the age that you can buy a firearm? Do you want that?
Yeah.
Okay,
So you want to... So hold on. You want to raise the
oh my
age...
gosh.
I don't
From...
want.
Hey.
No, I want to know. No, do you want to
Hey.
ban assault?
Hey.
Do you want to ban guns?
I don't think
Answer
any
yes or
citizen
no.
of the United States
Answer yes
should
or no.
own a military-style assault weapon.
I don't think... Here's my case on it. And I've said this before. I think that assault rifles should be, one, heavily regulated, and two, I mean, if we were in a perfect world... First of all, anyone that says they need an assault rifle for hunting, I don't know what you're hunting.
Yeah.
Like, I understand more of the need for security, but...
They're hunting the radiated death claws when World War
Yeah,
III
yeah.
starts.
I mean,
The
that's
death
literally
claws.
what-
You need it for the death claws.
I don't understand, like... I mean, and some people just like firing their guns, but I think that gun ranges should just have under lock and key, should just have, like, an open... these weapons. And there are places, like, in Vegas and stuff where you could shoot all sorts of crazy weapons.
I agree.
And, like, if we had
I
a place
agree.
like that so people could get it out of their system. But I don't understand why people need to... What bothers me the most is how easy it is to modify the AR-15. It's not so much the fact that, like, the ownership of assault rifles should be barred or anything.
Yeah,
But,
I think you
that
can have it heavily regulated, but I don't think you should ban
Well,
it.
the other thing is I think that the AR-15 is a really terribly designed weapon.
Really?
Because,
Are you a gun expert or
No, what I
you a
mean...
gun
Here's
expert?
what I mean. What I mean is the design of the AR-15 is basically, in the post-Vietnam world, military people wanted to own the guns that... And, like, actually, it was...
It's
like,
a
the
civilian
wildcat-
version of the
It's a
M16.
civilian version of, the M16. So... But because of that, they just took the M16 and said, well, we'll make it semi instead of fully. But, I mean, you remove two pieces on it.
Or you shave down
It takes
one.
2 seconds to shave down something, and suddenly it's full auto. Or you put a bump. And bump stocks, I don't understand. I mean, they're already. And when people are screaming about bump stocks are already illegal in New York State.
Yeah,
so.
they're already. So, yeah,
I mean,
New York State's already got that.
I mean, most of the issues are more in other states, because in this state, I mean, the SAFE Act is pretty much.
New York State has some of the strictest gun laws in the country.
Which, I mean, is. Is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I think the issue with, I mean, gun debates can go violently either way. I mean,
Yeah.
my thing is, I think people are always afraid that their guns are going to be taken away.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying. I think it should be. I mean, it should not be. You shouldn't be able to walk in a Walmart and just buy a gun.
Yeah.
And in New York State, you can't, but in some
can't.
states, you can. And there's a lot of like gun show clauses and things,
Yeah, and all that.
and some of those things. I mean, when these gun laws were developed, and it was, there was the point that when the Second Amendment was developed, everyone had to carry a gun. There was no centralized police force in the United States.
Yeah.
And it was, under the development of strong militia, the right to bear arms should not be infringed. And George Washington believed that to make sure George Washington actually, to make sure that even your government doesn't try to mess you over, you should be able to arm yourself. But this was back in the era when, I mean, guns were horrible back in the Revolutionary era. I mean, you had you were shooting, the rifle was as long as you were, and you'd be lucky if you could hit it at 100 yards. It was like you couldn't hit the broadside of the barn with those things. Everyone always got in pistol duels because they were so inaccurate. That's why the Civil War was so bloody, because the new bullets that were used in those guns were super accurate, and they were just standing in a line shooting at each other. And then that's why combat changed. So I thinking that we need to look at it from that perspective. At the same time,
But still, I don't believe we should be raising the age that you should be able to buy. I think if you're old enough to serve your country, if you're old enough to do everything as an adult, you should be able to buy a firearm.
Why can't you drink then?
I think it should be. I think you should be able to drink at 18. If I was in charge, I would have you be able to drink at 18. I'd have you be able to get a gun at 18. I'd have you be able to serve your country at 18, vote at 18. I'd have you be able to do everything at 18.
it's funny that we lowered the voting age but raised the drinking age.
Yeah, that's kind of
Because
ridiculous.
the voting age was 21 and the drinking age was 18.
Well, the reason it's gone up to 21 is because of the drunk driving lobby, actually. That's why they pumped it up, and states will lose their funding if they ever drop it.
I mean, marijuana's illegal because in the 30s, the Prohibition Department was obviously losing on Prohibition.
So they figured, what's this new drug?
They were about to have their funding cut, so he just kind of decided to state that marijuana, tied it in with anti-Mexican sentiments, by the way. Marijuana was making people violent and homicidal. Reefer madness.
Yes.
Reefer madness.
Yes, folks. If
And
you've
then,
ever met a stoner, it's very obvious.
In the 70s, Nixon had the opportunity to debunk all of that, but
threw it out.
at that point, he was...
Because he wanted his war on drugs. That's what he wanted.
Well, and you do realize the war on drugs was... And there's actually a quote on it from his staff that said, the war on drugs was... And the reason that marijuana remained illegal was... He could not ban anti-war protesters. You cannot make anti-war protesting illegal. However, most of them were
Pot smokers.
counterculture pot smokers. So you could make pot super illegal, make it a Schedule 1 drug, say that it leads to heavier drugs, and yet have lesser sentences for the heavier drugs, and throw people in prison.
If you ever wanted a reason to hate Nixon even more, folks, here you are.
And it just continued to stay because no one wants to look back on it.
The thing is, though, I think, and I really hope, this is a good thing, the culture is changing, tied towards being pro sort of legalization of marijuana.
If
It's slowly
marijuana was
changing.
regulated, marijuana should be...
I think it should be federally legalized. That's my opinion.
Here's what I believe it should be: legalized and regulated. I like the way Colorado regulates it, but I think it should be
Like alcohol?
like a combination of alcohol and tobacco. I think it should be legal, but it should be regular. I mean, it is still a drug. It has effects on.
Well, yeah, but
like alcohol, it should be.
Yeah. Like you can't be high and drive. You can't.
I mean, there's. When you look at alcohol, there are open container laws. You can't be drinking alcohol walking around in public.
Yeah, it can't be smoking.
You can't be smoking. Exactly. It shouldn't be in public. It should be regulated. It should be. I mean, honestly, you really want to fight the opioid epidemic. Legalize marijuana and all the tax proceeds, which will never be agreed upon by the feds, which is what irritates me. Is put a tax on it. And you know what? Put a larger tax on it. I know that's going to
that's going to annoy me and my friends. That's going to annoy
like everyone. But put a larger tax on it, and all of that tax money goes to funding to stop the opioid epidemic in this country.
Or another idea is we could take a small percentage on the billions we spend on defense, take a small chunk of that, and spend that.
But
on
that's
opioids.
never. But here's the.
Because we spend way too much.
You're not thinking like a politician.
Oh yeah, that's not politically savvy.
Here's the politically savvy thing. The drug people are. I mean, anti-drug people are always going to be anti-drug, but those people that are on the border, if you can convince them, if we legalize marijuana, the proceeds, like you take, from taxation, basically you're taking a percentage of marijuana revenue and putting it to stopping the opioid epidemic and serious
drug addictions
in the United States.
Yeah.
That are, spiraling out of control every day and no one really wants to do anything to stop it. But if you tell them, hey, we're going to legalize marijuana, heavily, heavily regulate it, and tax it, and all that tax money is going to go to try to figure out how to stop this drug epidemic, they're connected.
Yeah.
Defense and opioid are not connected.
I know.
If marijuana and drug to drug, they can connect.
Yeah.
So that would be... Yeah, I always thought they should do that. They're not gonna, because we are decades out from them ever legalizing anything.
I think
we're very stubborn.
Well, states are legalizing at this point, and I think eventually they'll get around to I think enough of a push will happen.
Trump just passed. Okay, so
not under Trump, obviously, but
the Republican-led Congress just pushed through a law that Trump approved that basically cracked down on websites where people might post. How do you want to word this, Joe? You might want to take this one.
Say sex work.
Yeah, want to just be blunt here.
Prostitution.
Craigslist just removed their personal section, which is pretty much all of Craigslist. So Craigslist is going to be bankrupt within the year. But they removed their personal section because originally the laws for websites, with the exception of there's clauses that have to do with safety of children, and that's where there's how you can overrule First Amendment rights as children, and it always has been. But otherwise, if it had nothing to do with children, websites could not legally be held. They could only legally be held responsible if they knowingly permitted illegal activity on their website and specifically kind of engaged in it. But if they were an open, if you were just a sales website or you were Google, and this had to do more with copyright, YouTube could not technically, as long as YouTube responded to the copyright claim appropriately and took down any claims that were made, YouTube cannot just be preemptively sued for having copyright infringement material. And that's there's this clause of websites cannot be sued for public websites cannot be sued for something that one of their users did. As long as they take appropriate post measures after being notified of the issue to try to remediate the issue. But they can't be well, this happened, and even though you took appropriate steps, we're going to sue you anyway. You can't do that. This kind of changes that on one perspective, because now Craigslist can be successfully sued because someone posted a personal ad that was coded and turned out to be an ad for prostitution. And a lot of individuals, and there is a crisis in this country with sex trafficking, that people seem to not notice.
No, it's an
This
issue,
is just
yeah.
what this is really doing, and they're thinking, oh yeah, we're gonna take out prostitution. No, you're just making more dangerous sex trafficking.
Exactly.
Because now instead of a semi-regulated public forum, it's going back on the street and getting pulled in by some person in a trench coat.
Yeah, here's the thing that I think politicians don't seem to get the fact that the more you prohibit something, the more unsafe you make that thing. Like with prostitution, if we say did what they did in Europe and they decriminalize it and they have the government like sort of, do the occasional checks and all that jazz, it would be a lot safer, not only for the women involved and for the people purchasing the services.
The problem is we are the United States, and that's never going to happen.
Really? Because like if people thought pot would never get legalized, and it probably will eventually will. I think prostitution was legal in the U.S. till 1917. I mean,
but here's the deal. I mean, this is it. You have to realize we went through a reformist, and I will be very blunt, puritanical movement several times over in the United States.
We were founded. I know we were founded by Puritans.
It's not a stretch to say that red is getting redder and blue is getting bluer. And I could foresee blue states legalizing things, but I don't foresee,
Alabama or
any
Alabama prostitution.
and not even that, but like a deep red Midwest state.
Iowa.
You're never gonna, and I don't see any of the Bible Belt states ever allowing that to happen, and
because they're blinded by their theology.
Well, I mean, that's an issue since the dawn of time, people being blinded by theology. It's people, and it's not even by the theology, people are blinded by their own personal opinions.
Yeah. Not enough to see the facts and that
people
this
don't like
will help.
seeing facts.
People don't like facts. People really don't like facts.
But, I mean, people have a comfort zone, and when you push people out of that comfort zone, you're violating
their safe space, quote unquote.
You're violating fundamental humanity is what's happening. I mean, it's a fundamental part of human nature that people have a comfort zone, and when you push them out of that comfort zone, they're going to react quite extremely to you pushing them out of that comfort zone. So I understand it. At the same time, there needs to be some sort of level of homeostasis that needs to be reached that, unfortunately, at some point, anyone's going to get pushed out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, eventually you're going to get pushed out
and
of
it's
your comfort
time
zone.
that people start getting pushed out
and
of their
people need to
comfort
understand that it's not always a bad thing if you get pushed out of your comfort zone.
People are afraid of the unknown. Always have been.
Exactly.
Snakes are going to jump out and bite you.
There's snakes on this studio. Snakes in a studio. We're going to make that a movie. It's going to be it's going to be really overhyped, and it's going to be a massive disappointment.
What is it, Kung Fury?
Was Kung Fury a massive disappointment?
I don't know. Apparently, everyone online thinks it's a terrible movie.
What?
Because they don't get that it's intentionally terrible.
What?
What? I thought the joke would be pretty blatantly obvious.
Yeah, people are dumb, though.
Oh, my voice is like suddenly.
Oh no, Bobby! Don't,
can't talk,
don't
help me.
leave.
No, Bobby's dying in the
Bobby.
studio, guys.
No, I'm okay.
Aw.
The reboot of Kung Fury is
I'm
gonna be worse than
kidding.
the original.
Oh, the reboot of Kung Fury is gonna be trash because they don't really. It's supposed to be a fake dumb movie. Why did we reboot it?
It's the same thing with like Sharknado. Sharknado, they didn't know they were making a bad movie, and therefore it was funny. The second
No, but Kung Fury knew they were making
also
a bad
created a terrible genre that produced thousands of more.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't create.
They didn't create it, but they popularized
The thing with that
it.
genre has always been the shelves.
Sci-Fi Channel.
No, rental. Movie rentals have always been like really bad movies.
Oh, I know.
The thing with Sharknado was it rebooted something. There was always like that stoners Saturday night, blockbuster rentals.
which I have. Yes, I know.
And the thing with Sharknado is Sharknado was fully aware of the fact that it's terrible and does ever increasing ways to make themselves more just bonkers. And they're supposed to be bad.
There's a movie coming out soon with The Rock. It's a live action.
Rampage.
It's a live action production of like Rampage the video game, like
yeah,
the old arcade.
that no
like,
one remembers.
Nobody
No,
remembers.
I remember it. Do you, anybody else remember?
No.
You
No.
don't remember Rampage?
No,
Alright.
I do not.
You're a gamer though, Bobby. You'll remember those things.
I'm a gamer and I don't remember it.
You're young.
I don't know what kind of story they're gonna get out of that game. It's just like a fighter. It doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
No.
Look, but it has, The Rock in it, so... Can we talk about...
Supposedly, the new Jumanji did really well. Did you see it?
I saw it. People were talking about how it was, like, the funniest movie ever.
It's not as good as the original.
Okay, the original's dumb, though.
Yeah, but the
What?
original has Robin Williams.
The original is overhyped. It's not a bad movie, it's just overhyped. This one was definitely... I don't understand what was so funny about it. It wasn't... I mean, it wasn't a bad movie, but it was not nearly as, like...
I heard recently it was pretty good. Also, they announced a sequel to it. That it was in a production, so like...
Can we stop?
Stop!
Can we stop?
And I mean, The Rock and his desperate need to just keep making jungle movies. They're making a live-action Jungle Cruise movie from Disney.
Oh.
Because that needs to happen. Like,
If you ever wanted...
did you learn nothing from Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion? You need to stop.
If you wanted any more evidence that Hollywood is running out of ideas, folks.
Although I will give credit, you always know when a movie has a wrestler in it, because unlike movie stars who realize that they can just bank on being a movie star and like try not to overexert themselves, between John Cena and The Rock, they realize that there's only a matter of time before people stop caring. So they're just like in every movie ever. Like, what is John Cena doing? He's just in like every really mediocre.
He's just... No.
What? You
No.
can't see him.
No. Super Cena, don't lose.
But it's so. I mean,
It
is funny because every character he plays in these things is like the really like dorky, serious father of these teenage kids. Every film.
Did you see?
He's just dorky, but he's funny. I mean, he is funny.
Did you see the new trailer for Solo?
Which one?
A new one just came out like a few days ago or like a week ago, maybe.
Oh yeah, I think I saw.
This guy does not look like Harrison Ford. He
but...
does not look like Harrison Ford.
I mean, everyone's decided this movie's gonna suck, and I'm sure Rotten
It
Tomatoes...
probably will.
And I mean, I don't know, they'll probably, rig Rotten Tomatoes again to say it sucked, but it might be a decent movie.
No, they might rig it to say it's great, like with Black Panther.
What did I just see in theaters? I just went to go see something that was real...
What'd
What?
you see?
What?
And it was good, and I am eating my words.
What?
Did you see Ready Player
was
One?
it?
I saw Ready Player One.
I haven't seen it yet.
It is, okay.
Really?
It's a little ham-fisted.
I hear.
It's real. As a matter of fact, there are points and I'm not spoiling anything, but it opens and you travel through Minecraft. It's a little heavy, and the story's kind of dumb, but it's entertaining. It's a good. It's not like a great. It's not some hard hitting Oscar-worthy masterpiece. It's a good popcorn movie. It is a good popcorn movie. So I will eat my words.
Well,
I did enjoy Ready Player One.
Red Letter Media tore it apart. That's what they did.
Red Letter Media. Who cares?
I like them.
I love these people, kind of like CinemaSins, who just tear apart everything.
It's great.
Like, guys, I like when people overanalyze popcorn movies.
And that's the fun part, and then they crack jokes.
Like, you're not supposed to overanalyze popcorn movies, though. They're popcorn movies.
A movie just came out, I think, last week, A Quiet Place. Has anybody heard
I
of
hear
that?
that's supposed to be interesting.
I heard it's supposed to be really good.
It's gotten really great reviews, and I've heard a lot about...
It's got an interesting concept.
I mean, I still haven't seen our Lord and Savior Paddington 2, so...
I haven't seen the first Paddington.
I saw the first Paddington.
The first Paddington is such a heartwarming film.
It really is.
You know what's funny about... I think here's the thing with Paddington, though. It's not that it is the best, 100% of Rotten Tomatoes because it's the best movie.
Yeah.
It is just such a wholesome, inoffensive movie. There is, at no point while eating the frozen chocolate-covered banana did I feel that
Yeah.
my life was in danger.
Yeah.
That's pretty much blast from. When I went to Disney, I bought a chocolate covered banana, and that's all I could think of, Bobby. So, congratulations.
Congratulations. A winner is you.
That's it. Paddington is not a wonderful. The first Paddington is not a wonderful film. It's just wholesome and inoffensive, and at no point is it like. It's entertaining enough. It's not super entertaining. It's not super funny. It's just like, Paddington.
I have a couple things.
What?
Did I saw they were adding that Toy Story section to Hollywood Studios. Did that open yet?
Not when is it? It's opening this summer, next month or something.
I'm excited for that. Also, they announced Toy Story 4 is coming out next year.
Yeah, let's not.
Why?
Let's just
Why?
not.
It ended just fine. Why do you need to make another one?
You want to know where Toy Story ended just fine? With Toy Story 2.
It did.
No, I think...
Well, Toy Story 3 is a good movie.
Yeah,
I don't like Toy Story 3.
You don't?
It's
Really?
at the bottom of my list of Pixar films.
Really?
I love Toy Story 3.
It was good. Wasn't
I don't like.
I thought it
I
was
don't
a
like
good-
any of the Toy Stories though. I'm
was a-
not.
Oh my god, yeah.
I'm horrible. I don't like them.
What about The Incredibles?
I haven't seen the newest trailer.
the first
Yeah,
one?
a very new trailer just came out
one
like
just
today.
came out, like,
yeah.
today.
I saw the first one. The first one's good. I liked it.
I like The Incredibles.
I'm very excited for this.
So here's the deal. I don't know if you know this with Disney on television, but when Disney is about to release a sequel to a film that came out a lot of years ago, they tend to play the original film on every channel they own, which is Freeform, Disney Channel, Disney XD, ABC, any of them. So The Incredibles has been playing non-stop. And on top of that, I can deal with The Incredibles because I just turn it off and like whatever. You know which one's the worst though?
What?
They've been playing Wreck-It Ralph. And here's the deal with Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph is a wonderful, great
it's a
movie.
good movie.
But when you play it every day for 3 months straight...
Is the sequel coming out soon?
Yeah, it's coming out this year.
But like
I
in the next few months?
I want to say in the fall.
Oh, why are they doing it now?
Because they prime people. They have entire marketing firms that figure this out.
They have a whole army of marketers.
But, you know...
Oh, Bobby, you're gonna love this.
Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
Guess what?
What?
Guess who's back?
Who's
back again? Spyro's back.
Oh my!
Tell some friends.
Yeah, I forgot. The Spyro trilogy remake was announced. I'm so excited.
Woo! This is full guys. This is full nostalgia. Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot were the 2 first games I ever played.
I'm pretty sure Spyro was the first game I played on the PS1.
I'm telling you, this is like a massive nostalgia bomb. I am having such a nostalgia bomb.
I can't even remember the first game I ever played.
Super excited for that game, and
I think it was like Space Invaders.
The one hope that I have, the one fear for that game, is that they're just gonna destroy the soundtrack because Stuart Copeland's soundtrack on that. Yeah.
Keep Stuart Copeland's compositions. Get him back in the studio to do it again.
The soundtrack is the most important part of that game. It's ingrained in my memory.
I want the drummer from the Police.
Nerds.
You damn right.
So yeah.
So we're just gonna end the show.
Wait. I got one more thing.
Yeah, one more thing.
You play that mouse stealth game?
Mouse stealth game.
Yeah. That I'm trying to remember its name. Something about the shadow. It's this stealth game where you play a mouse and you sneak around a castle, and it's like
Stuart Little.
no.
Oh, okay. No.
Tom and Jerry.
Is it recent? I have no idea. What
Yeah,
you're
it's
talking
recent.
About.
It came out recently. It's on like Steam.
Everything's on Steam.
No, I mean it's like really popular on Steam. It was.
I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. I just don't know what it's
It's
called.
a mouse stealth game. Yeah.
You
know what I'm talking about.
I'm googling mouse stealth game.
Yes. Mouse.
Is
stealth.
it Ghost of a Tale?
Yes.
That's mouse stealth game. All right.
Mouse stealth game.
Mouse stealth game.
We are so good on Niagara 124, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh, this game looks better than it deserves to look.
Yeah, I hear it's good.
Well.
What?
No, nothing. I don't know.
You saw the mouse?
What's happening? Yeah, I saw the mouse.
It's a mouse.
Everybody play Fortnite. Fortnite's a great game.
No!
20
No!
million players.
No!
Don't do it.
No!
Everybody plays Fortnite. If you don't play Fortnite, what's wrong?
Drake shows up.
Yeah, Drake plays Fortnite.
My teacher had bought her son finally bought him a video game console because he never had one. And she's seriously considering throwing it in the lake because of Fortnite. And she has thrown his phone in the lake before.
It's a fun game. They did have the most recent update caused problems, so I don't know how it's gonna go.
You mean the giant meteor that's gonna kill everyone?
There's that, but also the game. They had to take the servers offline for like 12 hours yesterday, so I'm imagining a lot of people went through withdrawals, including me. I couldn't play at all on Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah. So basically, Fortnite is just drugs.
Hey kids,
Don't do Fortnite, not even once.
You want to buy some Fortnite?
Well, it's,
I know you want
some.
We got 7 seconds. No, we got 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. All right,
Okay,
bye.
it's 1 o'clock. So
right.
for Niagara 124, I'm Nico.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Joe.
See you
Bye,
next
folks. See you next
Bye-bye.
week.
week. Goodbye.
Adios.
Bye.